Yeah, hi everyone. So I think in the last session, we have discussed about tuples. I think in the tuples we have discussed like how to declare the tuples and accessing the tuples, and also what are the different methods that are available in the tuples. So, and also we have discussed like what is the difference between an array and tuple, and we have discussed about slice method, splice, reverse, and sort. So, I think we also discussed that the slice and splice these methods are applicable for both arrays as well as tuples. And also we discussed about optional parameters and how to declare optional parameters in tuples and destructuring the tuples and rest elements in the tuples. And we have discussed about spread operator and read-only tuples. So today let us discuss about sets and maps. Again in the sets we'll discuss how to declare a set and how to access the elements from a set and methods in set and union types and read-only. So basically set is a another data structure. Like we have discussed about tuples, arrays. Arrays is one type of data structure. Tuple is another data structure. And again, set is also another type of data structure. So what is the difference between these arrays and tuples? So basically, if you declare or if you create a set, set accepts only unique elements. I think if you have seen earlier, arrays and tuples, they don't restrict the duplicate values. And arrays and tuples has index. But if you consider the set, it doesn't allow any duplicate values and set doesn't have any index. And set can have both, you can declare the same data types or you can also have union data types. So those are the main characteristics of the set. And one more thing, set can store only unique elements and it preserves the order. See, in whatever the order you store the elements, you can get the element in the same order. And compared to performance, the set performance is more compared to arrays or tuples. So now let us see how to declare the sets and when do we need to use sets. Generally, if you want to store any unique values, we need to go for sets because tuples and array stores duplicate values. And if I wanted to store only unique values like employee IDs or let's say the cities of a country I want to store. So though it appears multiple times, still it will give you only unique values. So whenever you want to store only unique values, and if you don't want to allow the duplicate values, we have to go for sets. So now let us discuss how to declare the set and then how to create the set and how to get the values from the set. Let us discuss. So yeah, I'm creating a new folder here, sets. Yeah, let me create a new file, set declaring values, declaring sets. Yeah. So now how to declare a set? So again, the following is the syntax to declare a set. So first we have to give this let keyword and set name. So this is the name of the set. Then we have to use set. This is the keyword. Then you have to provide the data type equal to new set. And again, you have to provide the data type. So this is how you can declare a set. This is the syntax. So let is a keyword to declare any variables and set name. This name can be anything. And you have to use this set class. And inside the set class, you need to provide the data type because what kind of values that you wanted to store in set like integers, like numbers or strings or boolean. You can store any type of values inside a set then equal to new set. It is like a new a set is a class here. So new set you have to provide. Then again you have to provide the data type. So whatever the data type you declare here, the same data type we have to provide here. So now I wanted to create a set student IDs and I would like to store the student roll numbers. So that is my intention. So let us declare this. I would say let. So what is the name of the set? I'll provide set name as student roll number. So keyword, give set class. And what is the data type of student roll number? Usually it would be number. So I'll provide number equal to new set. Again, you need to provide the data type here. Yeah. So now this creates a set. The set name is student roll number. So now I would like to add student roll numbers here. So how can I insert the values into a set? So if you want to insert the values into a set, there is a method add. So we need to use the add method. So I would say student roll number dot add. So I'll give 1000. Let's say this is one roll number. So again, similar way, you can add the other elements. So I'll give 1001. This is another roll number, 1002 and 1003. So these are the roll numbers. So now let me print the data of a set. Yeah. So let me run this. So just to navigate to SRC. From SRC, you need to navigate to sets. Then, yeah. So let me run this. So now it should simply print the set values to the console. So here there are four values that we have assigned inside the set. So it should print the four values. Yeah. So here it is giving you set of four. That means there are four elements in the set and it is printing all those four values. So let me give a duplicate value here. So I'm adding 1003 three times. So in this case, though you have added three elements with three same values inside the set, it will not take those three values because set doesn't allow duplicate values. So though I have added 1003 three times, still you will get only one value. So let me run this. So now you should see only, still you will see only four elements. Though you provided 1003 three times, set doesn't take that. It takes only once. So yeah, if you see here, so though you provided 1003 three times inside the set, it has given only once. So that means set doesn't allow you duplicate values. And one more thing, so if you observe here, it preserves the order. So first I assigned 1000, it is giving you in the same order. So whatever the order you add the elements, while it returning the values, it will return in the same order. So this is how you can declare this is a set of type number. In the same way, you can create a set with different data types. Now, let me create one more set. So now I wanted to store the student names. So I'll give the set name as student name. And the type should be string because the student name should be string. Okay. So again, you use same method add. So yeah, I want to add let's say I want to add four student names. So I'll provide John. So this is one student name. Test user one. This is one student. So test user two, three. So this is how you can add or you can declare a set of type string and you can assign the values using add. So let me run. It will simply print. Here it will print the student roll numbers and this will give you the student names. So the first set is a number set. The second set is a string set. It allows only string values. So this is how you can declare a set. So and suppose let's say here initially I declare the set. Initially the set doesn't have any values. After that you added the values one by one. But now I wanted to create a set with some default values. So let us see how I can do that. So now I'll create one more set. Let's say the name of the set is fruits. And the type of set is a string. So equal to, I would say new set. Yeah, so inside the set you can pass an array. Okay. So earlier we did not pass an array. This is, we are just passing the data type. And by default, the set will not have any elements. It is a empty set. So first we are declaring an empty set here. Then we are adding the value. But now this fruit sets, I want to create a set by default with some values. So here you can simply pass an array. So apple, I'll say mango. Okay. So now I'll give another, let's say orange fruit. Yeah. So now if I run this, you will get some values inside the fruits. So this is how you can declare a set with some default values. If you don't give any values, by default it will be empty. If you would like to declare an array, if you would like to create a set with some default values, you can simply pass the array to the set. Okay. Yeah. So this is how we can declare the sets. And to add the values inside the set, we use add method. So now let us discuss how to access the elements of a set. So now we have discussed how to create a set with empty values, later add the values using the add method, and how to create a set using some default values. So now let me create one more file. So now I wanted to access the values from set. So now let's say I'll use the same set here. So let's say I have this student set I will declare. Yeah. So how to iterate through a set? So how to access the values of a set? So as I told you, right, there will be no index to the sets. Earlier in arrays and tuples, there is an index. Using index, you can access the values of tuples or arrays. But for sets, there will be no concept of index. So the only option that you can iterate through a set, you cannot access using the indexes. So if you want to access the elements, you simply need to iterate through the set object. So here we have four elements. So I want to iterate and get all these four elements one by one. So I think earlier we discussed about loops. We have for of loop and for in loop. And so here we cannot use for in loop because set doesn't contain any index. So we have to use for loop. So let us try how we can use this for of loop. So I would say for let element of student roll number. So the for of loop simply iterate through each and every value and it will provide you the value. So console.log. So print the element. So it will simply print all the values from the set. So it will iterate through one by one. Initially, element will contain the value 1000, then it will get 1001, 1002, 1003. So like that, it will print the values one by one. So yeah. So this is how you can iterate through a set. So I think we need to run this. Yeah. So you should print all these four values to the console. Okay. Yeah. So this is how you can use for of loop. So this is for of loop. So apart from this, in the sets, there is a method values. So using values method, you can iterate through a set. So what this values does is, so now I'll call a method console.log. So I would say dot values. So values is a method. What it does is, it is going to return an iterator object. So it will simply get all the elements of a set and it will return an iterator object. So now you can iterate through that iterator object and you can get the value. So here you can observe here, the moment I call values method over the set, it is returning set iterator. So the set iterator is having four values. So now again, you can iterate through this iterator object using for of loop. So now I would say here, so yeah, iterate through using iterate using values method. So now what I will do is student roll number dot values. So it will simply keep them in an iterator object and it will return that iterator object. So now I'm calling so I'm iterating using for of loop. So initially element will have a value 1000, then it will get 1001, 1002, 1003, like that it will iterate through each and every element of this set iterator. So then you can access those. Same for of loop we can use. Yeah. So now you can see. So we have the moment you call this values method, it is returning a set iterator object. So I'm iterating through the set iterator using the for of loop. So this is one more way how you can iterate through a set in. Yeah. So yeah, so you can use this values method and you can iterate using this for of loop. So now there is another method keys. So using keys method in set. So again, you can use the same thing. Again, this key is also written on iterator object. So I would say dot keys. You can use the keys method. And now let me print this. So call the keys method. So actually, you might wonder, like we don't have any keys in sets because in the sets we are only adding the values, but we are not adding any keys. Then why we are getting this keys method here? Because by default, uh, set doesn't support any keys because we don't need to add any keys in sets. It doesn't contain any key value pair. It simply contains the values. But when you call this keys method, since set does contain only values, this even keys method also returns the same values. So that's the reason we can use this keys method also in set to iterate through this. So let me run this. You will still get the same values. Even if you use keys method, it will also return the same values. But now we can see. So this keys method, when I call this keys method, it's simply returning a set iterator object because in the set object, the both keys and values are same because it doesn't have any keys separately. But when you consider maps, in the maps, you need to provide keys and values separately, but set doesn't accept keys. So in set, keys and values both refers to the same thing. So when you call keys method, it will give you the same values. Or when you call the values method also, it will give you the same values. Okay. Yeah, that's the reason when I call keys, it is still giving the same iterator object. Then you can iterate through that. So these are the different ways that you can access a set object in TypeScript. So now let us discuss what are the different methods that are available in set. Yeah. So now let us discuss what are the different methods that are available in set. So there is a method add. I think we already discussed about the add method. So add method is used to insert the values into a set. So then there is a method delete. So this delete method is used to delete an element from the set. And has method, this is used to check if an element exists in the set or not. So if you want to search for an element in a set, then you can use has method. Then there is a clear method. So this will clear all the elements of a set. So the values method we already discussed. So this values method is used to get the values as a set iterator object. So it will return the set iterator value set iterator object. Then there is a method for each. I think we already discussed about for each in the arrays and tuples. The same method can be used here. Then finally there is another size. Actually size is a property. This is not a method. So size is used to get the number of elements in the set. So now let us call these methods one by one and try to use this method over the set. So I'm creating a new file here. Set methods. So now I'll use the same set. So let's say this is a set student roll number. So I'll declare here. So now add method, it is adding the elements. So now I would like to delete an element 1003. So you can simply call delete method. So student roll number dot delete. So I need to give 1003. So in the set you can delete a value. You delete an element by value. So let me print the set now. Okay. So now, so call this file 03. So let me run this. So now the student roll number, so initially it has 4 elements. Now I am deleting 1003. It should contain only 3 elements. So yeah, this delete method is used to delete an element by value. So now, what is the next method? Has. Okay. So now I want to find if element 1002 exist in the set or not. So let us try that. So I will simply call dot has. So I'll give 1002. So this has method gives you true when element exists in the set. So now the 1002 element exists in the set. So it will give you true. So it just search for an element in the set. If the element exists, it will give you true. If the element doesn't exist, it will give you false. So now I am giving the 1003. So now that element doesn't exist because you already deleted that here. So it should give you false. Yeah, now we got the false. So the has method is simply used to search for an element. So then there is another method clear. So clear will clear entire set. So now console.log. So I'm printing the student roll number. So before I print the student roll number, I'll call the clear method. So now clear method will make the set empty. So let me run. So you should make the set empty and this should get empty set to the console. Yeah, you can see it has printed empty set to the console because you have called a clear method. The clear method removes each and every element from the set. Yeah, then we have values method. I think this we already discussed it. So when you call this values method, it will return and set iterator object. So using that set iterator object, you can iterate through a set. So then there is a for each method. So this is similar to what we used in arrays and tuples. So let us try this. So yeah, for now I'll comment this. So because this is clearing all the set, so I don't want to clear the set. So now let us use this for each. So I would say set object dot for each element. So yeah, you can write some logic. Let's say I wanted to identify I wanted to print only even values. So now if element percentile 2 equal to 0, so then I will print only that. So I will print only that element. So let me run this. So in this case, I should get only 1000 and 1002. Yeah, now you can see we got only 1000 and 1002. So here the main use of this for each is it will iterate to each and every element. And if you wanted to perform any logic inside the for each, you can write that here. Or if you want to print only plain element, you can do that. So yeah, this is how we can make use of for each method. So then there is a property. Actually, the size is not a method. Size is a property that is available for the set object. So the size will give you number of elements. So now here I want to print the number of elements. So I would say student roll number dot size. So now how many elements are available? Only 3 are available because one element we have deleted here. So you should see, it should give you size of 3. Okay, yeah. So this is how set works and these are the different methods in the set. So now let us discuss about union types in the set. I think we discussed about the union types in arrays also. like here we discuss it. So let me show you here. Yeah, in the union types. So that means generally array can store only similar values, but if you wanted to store multiple values, you can provide multiple data types. The same thing is applicable for set as well. Suppose now let's say I want to create a student set. In the student set, I want to store student roll number and also student name. So let us try how we can do that. So I'll give the same thing here. So let me create a new file. Yeah. So here I'm giving the name of the set as student. Just I'll give student. So here you need to provide the union type number and string. So now that means the student set can accept both numbers as well as strings. So let me print this. Yeah, first I'm giving roll numbers. Then I'll give the names. Okay, yeah. So whenever you have any requirement where you wanted to store different data types in a set, you can go for the union types. So I'm providing number and string. So now it will accept both numbers as well as strings. And the rest of the methods are same. Iteration and everything will be the same. So only the difference is that when you declare only one data type, you can store only one type of elements. If you declare union types, it can hold multiple elements. That is only the difference. And finally, let us discuss about read-only sets. So I think these read-only sets are similar to read-only arrays and read-only tuples. If you declare set as read-only, then you can access the elements, but you cannot modify the elements. Read-only is always accessing the elements. Like if you want to use add method, it will not work. Delete, it will not work because read-only, if you declare a set as read-only, you can only read the elements. You cannot modify that. So now let me, yeah, the same set I'll declare as read-only. So let me create a new file. So set, I'll declare it as a read-only. Okay. So now the same student, this is student set. The same student set I want to declare as read only. So I can give as read only set. Yeah. So now this student set is read only. Here I am trying to add the elements. It is not allowing. So then how we can declare the elements here by default? So I think you can use, okay, I'll give string here. So for the read-only sets, right, you can declare the default values. Here we have declared the default values. I'll do one thing. Let me make this as a read-only. These fruits, I'll make as read-only. Okay, yeah. So this is read-only set. Okay, I think spelling mistake. Read-only set. O should be small. Yeah. So now you can see this fruits is a read-only set. It will allow you only access these elements. Suppose if I try to add a method, add an element, I think you don't see the add method here. Delete method is not available. Clear method is not available because these are all read-only sets. Only you can access the elements, you can iterate through the elements. Only those methods which it doesn't modify your set, only those methods will be available. The other methods which modify the set, those will not be available for read-only sets. Yeah, so this is all about the set. So we have discussed like how to declare the set and how to access the elements of a set. Then how to, what are the different methods that are available for a set. Then union types and we discussed about the read-only. So this is all about the set data structure. Now let us discuss about maps. So generally, why we need maps? So if you if you want to store data in key value pair, then we might need to get the maps. Suppose let's say in a website, I want to get different user data. Let's say each user having username, password, and city. These three data I have. Now I want to access that data by a key. Suppose if I give the username, then I want to get all of the user data. Suppose let's say I have a requirement like this. So now I want to store username. Along with the username, I want to store username, full name, city, pin code. Like that, I want to store the details. So, but I want to access all this information using the username. So if this is your use case, then what we can do is you can simply create a map. So you can simply create a map. Inside the map, you can keep username as key, and this is an object which contains these values like a username, full name, city, and pin code. So that means here I can store in key value pair where username is the key and the remaining data will be available in the form of objects. So I can access all this information simply by using the key username. In the same way, let's say you have another use case. So in a website, suppose if I give 1, I want to get Monday. If I provide a number 2, I want to get Tuesday. In the same way, 3, I want to get Wednesday. If that is your use case, here 1 is mapping to Monday, 2 is mapping to Tuesday, 3 is mapping to Wednesday. So whenever I get user input as 1, I want to return Monday. So if we have any such requirement, again we have to go for maps. So let us see how the syntax of a map looks like and how to insert the values into a map and how to get the values. Let us discuss one by one. So in map, you can store the data in the form of key value pair. And in the map, you cannot store duplicate keys. You can store duplicate values, but you cannot store duplicate keys in a map. So though you provide duplicate keys, but still map consider that only one and it considers the latest value. So let us discuss the examples here. So let me create a new folder. So maps. Yeah, first let me create a file. So maps and declaring the maps. So let me create one map. So the name of the map is student marks. So here I wanted to store student name and the marks he has obtained. So what is the syntax to declare a map? So following is the syntax. So simply we need to provide the keyword. I mean let keyword or constant keyword map name equal to new map, provide key and value. So this is the syntax of a map. So this is let is a keyword to declare a variable and map name. This is the name of the map and new map. So map is a class. New map you have to provide this. Then key and value. So key is nothing but the data type of key. What type of key you want to store? Value. What type of value you want to store? So now my requirement is I want to create a student map or student marks map. So the student marks map contains student name and also marks that he has obtained. So here student name is a key and the marks that he has obtained are values, let's say, or let's say the percentage he has obtained. So now let us declare that. So let, I would say the map name is student marks equal to new map. So key should be string because I'm providing key as student name and value should be number. So I want to store the percentage. So this is how you can create a map. So then once your map is created, I want to insert the values into a map. So to insert the values into a map, we need to use set method. So the set method accepts key and value. So key I'm giving a John, value let's say yeah 80 percentage. So since I want to store percentage here, let us make this also a string. So I'll provide this as 80%. Okay. The percentage that he has obtained. So again, let us create a few more elements. So I'll provide a David and let's say he got 70%. Then Alice. So let's say he obtained 90%. So this is how you can insert the values into a map. So you need to first provide the key, then you have to provide the value. So let me print this map. So I would say console.log. So I'll print this map. So now you should get the values in the key value pair to the console. So go to maps and this is the first program. Let me run this. So now you should print whatever the values that you have inserted into this map, those should be printed in the key value pair. So now you can see John is a key and 80% is the value associated to John key. Same with David, 70%, Alice, 90%. So this is how you can store the data in key value pair. So here we just created a map, then we are assigning the values. But if you wanted to add the values by default, so we can do in the following way. So again, I'm creating, let's say fruits. So fruits is a map. So first I want to store fruit ID, then fruit name. So now how you can do that? So I can simply pass values here. So pass an array here. So array of arrays. This is two-dimensional array. Yeah. So first should be fruit ID. I'll pass 100. So fruit ID is 100. Name is, the fruit name is apple. In the same way you can declare. So 200. I'll give banana. So 200. Sorry. Key is 300. I'll give orange. So here I want to initiate a map with the default values. Here you just created a map. Initially there will be no values in the map. Then you have explicitly inserting the values here. But here in this case, I'm creating a map by default with some values. So here you need to pass array of arrays. So this is simply a two-dimensional array. So this is one array, this is another array, this is another array. So the first value will be taken as a key, second value will be taken as value. So let me print this of fruits. I think you just get the key value pairs. It's like how we got student marks. But this is just adding the values after creating the map. This is adding the values when you initialize a map. Okay. Yeah. So now one more thing. So let me print this. So I'm creating Alice three times. And here I am giving 60%. Here I am giving 95%. Now what will happen for the student marks map? So as I told you, maps doesn't accept duplicate keys. So here Alice is a key which we have provided three times. We are inserting Alice three times into this map student marks. So now what will happen is first time it will take this value. So Alice is the key, 90% is the value. Again, after this, you are inserting same key with a different value. Now what will happen is key will stays only once. So because map doesn't allow duplicate keys. So now what will happen is since Alice key is already available, it override 90% with 60%. So when you insert this value, Alice key contains 60% value. But now again you are inserting one more Alice. Now Alice the key will be only once. Now the 60% will be overridden with 95%. That means at the end it will take the latest value. So the key will be taken only once, but the value, if you give multiple values to the same key, whatever the latest value is available, it will take that value. So in this case, you should get 95% for Alice. So let me run this. Yeah, so you can see for Alice, it stored the latest value that is 95%. So this is how you can declare maps. So now let us see how to access the maps. Because I wanted to get the values from the map. Let us see how we can do that. So maps, accessing. So I will take the same map. So the same student map. So how to access the values of a map? So there is a method, get method. So for the get method, you need to pass the key. So whatever the value that you want to access, you need to pass the key of that element. So now I would say student, yeah, this will print all the elements. Now student marks dot get of, I'll say John. So now what is the value associated to key John? So the value is 80%. You will get that. So simply you can access values of a map by using the key. Okay, if I run this, so this should print a whole map and this should give you the only 80%. Here you can see. So it is giving all the map and this is just giving the value associated to key John. So to retry the value of a map, you can use a get method. Get method accepts key. So this is one way. And suppose let's say I wanted to iterate through map because here using get method I can get a single elements, but now I wanted to iterate entire map. So if you want to iterate through entire map, I think there are again multiple ways. So we can use for of method. That is one way. Again, there is a method entries. Using the entries method, you can iterate through a map. Then there is a method values, which will give you only values. Then there is a method keys, which will give you only keys. Using the keys, you can iterate. So let us try one by one. First, I will try with for of loop. So now I would say for let. So here I will provide key comma value of student marks. So now why did I give key comma value here? Because the student marks, each element actually has keys and values. So now yesterday we discussed about destructuring the tuples. So it will have key and value. Now I wanted to destructure this key value pair from map. So that's the reason we are using this key comma value. This is simply destructuring the this map entry. So whatever the first value you will get, that will be stored in the key. Whatever the second value you will get, that will be stored in the value. So now let me print this. So first time it will give you the first entry and the second time it will give you second key value pair. So then we are capturing using for of loop and printing this. So let me run this. Yeah, now you can see. So we are getting key and value. So this is how you can access using for of loop. So now let us try using values. Suppose let's say I want to iterate through only values. So then there is a method values. So now what is the map object here? Student marks. So I'll call a method values. So what this values method does is it will extract all the values from the map and it will return a iterator object. So let me run this. So this method will simply give you all the values as a iterator object. So you can see it has returned a map iterator with all the values. Now we already aware how to iterate through a iterator object. So now I'll simply say element here. So this will give you the iterator object for map. So I'll print this. That's it. So now if I run this, it will iterate through all the values and give you the value one by one. So now you can see it will get all the values. This is how you can iterate through a map iterator using values method. So there is another method keys. So what this keys method does? So the moment you call this keys method, it will return all the keys as a map iterator. So if you get the keys, we can get the values. I think in the set we have discussed that keys and values will return the same values in the set because set doesn't have key value pair, it always give you values. But in the maps, that is not the case. In the map, you have keys and values. So when you call values, it will give you values map iterator. If you call this keys method, it will give you the keys object. So all the keys will be written as a iterator. So now let us iterate to the map using these keys. So now here I'll call keys. It will give you all the keys. So I'll give the name as key. If you know the key, we can get the value of a map. So now I would say student marks dot get of key. Because to access the values of a map, you can use get. Inside the get, you can pass the key. So now this keys method is giving you all the keys and it is iterating to the key one by one. So using this key method, I'm calling get method and passing the key. So it will give you the values. So this way you can iterate through a key values using keys method, keys map iterator. Okay. So we can use for of loop and we can use values method and keys method to iterate to a map object. So now there is one more way. So there is one more method entries. So let us try that. Or I would select. So it will give you key comma value of so map dot entries. So actually what this does is it will give one entry each time. So this is a key value pair. So first time when you say dot entries, okay, let me print this. You will understand what entries returns actually. So entries will simply give you key value pair as a map object, that an iterator object. Yeah, now you can see, yeah, this is how a map entries returns. So map entry is written as arrays. So and it is actually map entries iterator object. So it's simply giving you an array with two values. So that's the reason I'm destructuring this. So I can say this is a tuple because tuple will have fixed values and this can be considered as a tuple and I'm destructuring the tuple. So I'm providing key comma value. So the key will be stored here, value will be stored in the value. So let me print this. So this is how you can use multiple ways of accessing the values from the map. So let me run this. So it will simply give you key value pair. Okay, yeah. So these are the different ways that how you can iterate through a map. So we have used for of loop, then we used values, then keys, then entries. So these are the different ways that you can access a map. So now let us discuss about methods in the map. I think we almost covered those methods. So these are the methods in the map. So we already discussed about set to insert the values, get method to retrieve an element, delete to delete an element. Suppose in the map, if you want to delete an element, we can simply use delete of key. So now let us try this here. So I'll comment this out. So now I would say student marks dot delete. So I wanted to delete Alice. So you just pass delete of key. If you pass delete of key, it will delete that particular element. Let me run this. Yeah, so you can see it has deleted Alice and it has given you the remaining elements. So you can delete an element by key. Again, there is another method. Okay, I'll do one thing. Let me create a file. So new file I'll create. Maps, methods. Because I don't want to change this. So I think instead we can create a new file. Yeah. So now delete will delete the element. So now there is a method has. So you can check two things, whether a key exists or not, whether a value exists or not. You can do both. So I would say has. I'll provide has John, let's say. So let me run this. So John exists. I think we should get true. Yeah, we got true. So now let me try. I think it is applicable only for keys, I guess. Let me run this. Yeah, so this has method is only for keys. So there is no option for values. It will only give you for keys. Okay. Yeah, has is to check if a key exists or not. So then, yeah, values we discussed it. Keys also we discussed it. Size, it will give you number of elements. This is a property. And for each also similar. I think we discussed in the sets, tuples and arrays. It works in the same way. I think you can try this. But here we pass both key value pair instead of passing only one variable. So that is only the difference. So then there is a union type maps. So let us discuss about union type. So union type means as of now, if I give only one data type, right? String or if I give string, only it will allow string key. Suppose if I want to provide both number or string both as a keys, then you can pass one more data type. So let me create a new file. So maps union. So yeah, let me create this. So I'm creating the same map there. So now for the keys, I'll also pass number. Okay. So now here I can pass 100. So it is accepting now. Suppose if I don't pass this, it will give an error because since you provided key as only string, it can allow only string data type. But now I am providing string and number as a key type, so it can access both. So this is called union type in maps. How you did for keys, same way you can also do for values. Boolean, let's say. That means value can access both. You can give value as a string or also a Boolean. So this is about union types in the maps. So finally, there is one more thing, read-only map. So read-only map means you can only access the values. So let's see how we can declare read-only map. So read-only means just to access, that's it. So you cannot change the values of a map. So how to declare the read-only? So now, yeah, I'll declare this here, fruits. So now first I have declared the fruits as a map. So this is a map, fruits is a map. Now I want to make this as a read only. So for that, what we need to do is I would select read only fruits. This is the name of the map. So then there is a method read only. Sorry, there is a read only map. This is a class and pass the type here equal to fruits. So this is how you can declare the read only. There is no option to directly give read only here for the maps. What you need to do is first you need to declare a map. Then if you want to convert that into a read only, then you have to assign like this. Now read only fruits. This is a read only map. It will allow you only to access the elements. You cannot modify like delete method and add method, sorry, set method, delete method. Those will not be applicable for these maps. Yeah, I think this is all about maps.